Here is the quiet, persistent worry that's always in the back of my mind. It goes, you're doing it wrong. Sometimes it's playing at full blast and stressing me out. Most of the time, it's playing at a low volume, and I barely notice it unless everything else gets quiet. Sometimes it turns off altogether, and I can just enjoy the experience of being myself. But most of the time, it's there, like a subtle backing track to my life. And you might have one of these quiet, persistent background worries too. Yours might be you don't know what you're doing, or you're not doing enough, or you're behind. Whatever the specific worry is, the effect is the same. No matter what you do, it keeps subtly poking at you, like a little bit of wire sticking out in the chair you're sitting in, and you can never quite feel fully settled and at ease in your own skin. Now, here's what we often think that background worry means. We think it means that we're actually doing it wrong, or don't know what we're doing, or aren't doing enough, or are behind. We think it's an accurate fire alarm that's going off in response to a genuine fire in our metaphorical house. So then we double down and we keep working to try to put out that fire. Or the other meaning that we put on this worry is that we think we're just crazy, that there's something wrong with our brains for having this persistent worry, even though we've accomplished so much. We think that it's a faulty fire alarm that's going off in a house with no fire. And then what a crappy broken alarm system we have. And so we wonder what's wrong with us. We feel a little bit afraid of ourselves, and you have a whole new thing that you now get to worry about. Here's what this worry and self criticism really is: it's not an accurate fire alarm, and it's also not a crappy, broken, problematic fire alarm. Worry and self criticism is really your brain falling prey to a cognitive illusion. Here's how the illusion works: your brain is trying to achieve a feeling of safety by imagining lots of scenarios where you are unsafe. Your brain is trying to achieve a sense of I'm on top of things by listing all the ways that you're not on top of things. Your brain is trying to achieve a sense of I'm doing it right by listing all the ways that you're doing it wrong. Your brain is trying to achieve a sense of I know what I'm doing by listing all the ways that you don't know what you're doing. Your brain is trying to believe I'm good enough by looking for all the ways that you're not good enough. This cognitive illusion is so deceptive. It feels like imagining and planning for all the unsafe things that could happen should make you feel more safe. It feels like listing all the ways that you're not on top of things should help you get more on top of things. It feels like keeping a constant, vigilant eye out for what you're doing wrong should help you do things right. But ultimately, it is an illusion. It's a mirage that you keep walking towards, but it never arrives. It's almost like scratching an itch in order to make it less itchy, but it only makes the itch more itchy, and eventually you start to bleed. Or it's like smoking a cigarette to quell your nicotine cravings, but it only makes you more dependent on nicotine, and eventually your lungs give out. Constantly thinking of what could go wrong feels like it should help you do things right, and therefore feel the sense of relief that would be associated with that. But in reality, it only builds your brain's habit of constantly thinking of what could go wrong, and it keeps you trapped in stress and anxiety. Constantly thinking about everything you haven't done feels like it should help you get more on top of things and feel the sense of control that's associated with that. But in reality, it only builds your brain's habit of constantly thinking about everything you haven't done, and it keeps you trapped and feeling messy and out of control. This way of thinking is a cognitive illusion that just keeps you trapped in the spiral. Just like how itching keeps you trapped in itching, and smoking keeps you trapped in smoking. So, this is what I want you to tell your brain. I want you to say, hey, brain, I am 100% on board with your end goal. I want us to do things right. I want us to be on top of things. I want us to feel safe and like we belong and like we're good enough. And are you able to see, brain, that this path you're suggesting isn't actually getting us there? Because you would never tell someone who is feeling awkward at a party, hey, think about all the ways you don't fit in here. That will make you feel like you fit in. And you would never tell someone who is nervous about ziplining, hey, why don't you think about all the ways you could fall off the zip line? That will make you feel more secure. But this is the trap that our brains regularly fall for. Your brain is reaching for a 100% worthy goal, and it just happens to be falling for a deceptive but ineffective pathway for achieving it. Because the reality is, there's no safety in thinking of all the ways that you're unsafe. You won't find rightness by constantly looking for what you're doing wrong, and you won't get to enough by thinking of everything that's not enough. So, what should you think about instead? Especially when you don't want to get complacent or lazy or stop improving, and you definitely still want to do more and get better at things and achieve big things in this world. That is exactly what I help you figure out. I have a ton of thought suggestions that you can grab and run with, but most importantly, I help you come to your own answer to that question. So come talk to me and let's talk all about it. The link to book a free consult call is above.